What is up, YouTube and all my fellow NFL drafters? It's your boy here, Mark, with Marky Sports. And today we are going to break down Dylan Sampson, one of the many running backs that are eligible for the 2025 NFL draft. And there are a lot of good ones, and Dylan Sampson is definitely no exception. We're going to dive into him, talk a little bit about my thoughts, review some of the film, and see maybe where I feel like he might get drafted, some good team fits, and go from there. I appreciate it. If you guys love the NFL draft, if you love Denver sports, if you really love all things football, hit that subscribe button, like the video to really help me out. Thank you guys in advance. All right, so let's just dive right into this, huh? How about that? Let's go ahead and pull up Dylan Sampson and just talk a little bit about him from a profile standpoint. So Dylan Sampson, the positives that I like about him a lot. Firstly, I love the fact that he's only 20 years old, and he'll be 21 when the season starts, like early on, September 14th. 2004 is his birthday. It's crazy. He stands at 5'11", 201 pounds. He looks probably a little bit lighter than that. So size and overall weight is a little bit of a concern when it comes to Dylan Sampson overall. But one thing that he brings that's special is he's unbelievably elusive and he's fast. So you can see his elusive rating here per PFF is a 107.5. That's very high. His yards off the contact, 3.6. That's actually pretty good too overall in terms of for comparables. He finished the season 258 attempts, 1,488 yards, and 22 touchdowns. He also followed up with just 20 catches on 143 yards, no touchdowns catching the football actually. So here's the thing about Dylan Sampson, just off of the bat right away, what you'll really notice about a guy like him, in my opinion, is that he's somebody that does one or two things really well, and that's about it, right? So wasn't overall impressed. I've noticed that if, depending on who you're listening to or what experts draft grades and rankings you like to look at, Dylan Sampson varies a lot. There's some people that have him really high as 3. There's others that have him really low, kind of out of their top 10. And I can understand why, because there's so much things on tape that you love. And some of the things that we'll review, you'll be able to see when it comes to Dylan Sampson. He's somebody that has an incredible ability to accelerate to top speed quickly, like 3 steps and he's at top speed, very much like Trevion Henderson in terms of that. His long speed, his top end speed was actually a little bit more disappointing than I thought that it would be, but it's still plenty fast enough. He's someone that is willing at times in pass protection, but he's definitely very raw and needs a lot of refinement in his pass pro. And his vision is very it's very inconsistent, to say the least. And I feel like he's a player that kind of shies away from contact. Here's my thing, and we'll get to the film, and I'll give you guys my overall thoughts to kind of talk about it. Dylan Sampson is somebody that's going to be really interesting. He really is a running back that can go as high as the 2nd round, but he can go as low as the 6th or the 7th round too. Really, just depending on what teams are looking for and where the other running backs in this draft go, because he's a little bit less versatile, I guess, to say the least. So let's dive into it, and we'll start here with some beautiful stuff, because I love this play, and I think I have this angle and the tight as well. But one thing, here's what you'll notice about Dylan Sampson. This is what he does. He has this unbelievable ability to cut back, hit the hole, and he is gonzo. 33-yard touchdown pass. This was against Mississippi State. And you'll be able to really see it well in this one. So you can see here, he's really taking it outside. This is a zone blocking scheme all day. He's taking it out, boom, puts his foot in the dirt, cuts back in that lane. So you got to love the vision here. You got to love the cutback ability, make a guy miss, and he is gonzo. I mean, it is the thing of beauty. And somebody can watch this and really fall in love with that, because, I mean, there's not a lot of running backs that really have the ability to cut it. And then just watch it here. You see where he takes off. He's got a guy right on his heels, and boom, one quick burst and leaves him in the dust. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. So you can see the talents on tape. And I knew before I even looked into Dylan Sampson, I knew that he was someone that has a track backfield. There's no doubt about it. You can see that track speed, especially on the acceleration. So let's go ahead and go to this one. Sorry, move this one a little bit quick. And I don't think I have the other view here, but you can see this. It was actually one of the runs I was really impressed with when watching him. Very tough run. You do not see this a lot on his film. So I did want to highlight some of the times where you see it, because the right coaching, the right scheme, it can help. But he just takes it and says, you know what, I'm going to put my shoulder down. And he ran through a big boy. That is a linebacker that he ran right through, put him right on his butt, kept running, kept the feet going, and falls forward. So you got to love that. That's something that you do see good of, but it's extremely inconsistent. It does not happen nearly as often as I feel like you would like to see. But for a guy that's 200 pounds, that's not really his MO. But sometimes you do see him shying away from contact in some instances as well. I'll go ahead with another really, really good run here. This one was one of my personal favorites as well that I love to see because you can see the elusiveness, the cut, the power there, and finishing it off in the end zone. And sorry, the video cut off early, so we'll run that back again. But the lateral movement is very impressive. Very smooth, sheds the guy off, shows really good contact balance there, and ends up scoring. So, you're looking at these and you're like, man, Mark, you seem a little bit down on him. I'm not necessarily down on him because I can see the talent. I just feel like the inconsistencies is what really bothered me because you'll even see it and you can go through his game logs. You'll see 1 yard run, 3 yard run, 2 yard run. A lot of the times he's missing some pretty obvious holes. He's not getting a lot going. And then he, bursts one off for 60 yards and his box score looks amazing. And now for teams that are going to commit to him and he's going to be the every down back, which at that frame might be a little bit, not happen very often, then sure, then you're going to be able to be successful. But I'd like to see a little bit more consistency overall. Here's one of the examples as well. I believe this is versus Alabama. And then let's see this. Sorry, this is a few days ago. I was looking at it. Yeah, so I felt like this was one of the examples that I can kind of point out where I feel like the vision wasn't really quite there. He takes the handoff here. He's looking, and this tackle over here. Let me pull up the pen. This tackle right over here, he did a really good job of sealing the block. The tight end, to his credit, did a pretty good job of turning the guy in. And then what you'll be able to see is he just runs right into the defender. I mean, no ability to cut back. Now, listen, I'm not saying that I can see how much space he had, but you see this quite often consistently on his film is that there's a lot of times where he just kind of doesn't really know where to go and he just runs forward or misses a clear open hole. So you'll see those moments where he does the zone blocking scheme really, really well. And there's other times where you can see that he kind of misses that cutback lane or, it just kind of seems like he runs out of patience. So it happens a little bit. Now, pass blocking is something that I say, listen, I love the effort that you'll see from him, but he needs a lot of refinement. Here's an example of a bad. He just comes over. Oh, no, sorry. This was a good one. This was my positive. I apologize. So this one I like because you can see he gets a little bit dirty. He reacts right away. He knows, okay, the corner is coming in. He moves over, gets enough of them. Listen, did he get pushed back a little bit? Sure, that's no problem. But what he did there was certainly enough. So that was nice to see. But then you've got moments in the game too where he just doesn't even know where he's at, right? He kind of reacts a little bit. He gets a little bit happy feet. But I do love the effort. You see that quite a bit. But you do see way too much of these opportunities here where he's kind of like, where am I going? Where am I going? His head keeps turning right, left. And he looks, and by the time he gets there, it's too late. Now, the good thing is that wasn't really fully his responsibility. His responsibility was to block the free runner. There wasn't a free runner there. His lineman ended up just getting beat. But there's a lot of other films and tapes that you see that he kind of looking around or he'll miss it and he doesn't really know where things are going. A couple of times where he gets ran over. But like I said, I'm not overly concerned with him as a pass blocker because those are things that in the NFL you notice that running backs get better at as they get coached, as they get comfortable with it. And he's a smaller frame guy, so I don't think he's ever going to be elite. And I don't think he's really necessarily that guy. But he's someone that is really a very hit or miss player. If things are not going well for him, he kind of gets into a lull. He'll go a quarter or two of not really doing anything overly special, and then he'll pop one off a lot. And that doesn't always happen a lot in the NFL. And in the NFL, you can't just rely on out-athleting people, on beating guys, juking them out of their shoes like he does sometimes. It doesn't really work that way. You just got to be able to grind out those 6-7 yard runs as consistently as possible. So overall on Dylan Sampson, what I liked about him and what I really liked about watching his film is that he's extremely elusive. He's fun to watch. He's a crazy good athlete, and he's still super young. And you can tell the effort and the love to play is there, which is very evident. He's someone that had a whole bunch of work this year. A lot of yards, like we see, the 22 touchdowns is extremely impressive. But he's still a very much unfinished product. I kind of got the idea that maybe he would have been someone that would have benefited more from going back to school for a year. And the biggest knock that I have on him, given his size and his unbelievable, elusive rating, is he's basically a non-factor in the pass game. It doesn't mean that he can't be a good pass catcher. It doesn't mean that he can't catch the ball. Maybe I'm sure he's got that skill set in him, but he did not show much of it at all, as you can see with his numbers. And in the NFL, if you're going to be that size and you're going to rely a lot on your elusiveness and your speed, you've got to be able to do it in a multitude of ways. And a lot of the times that's being caught out of the backfield. Remind me a lot of Jaleel McLaughlin with the Broncos, right? I think he's more talented than Jaleel, and he's a little bit bigger. But very much like, man, for a small guy, he doesn't really give you much out of the pass game, and that can very much limit his role. So I think at least early on in his career, I can see him being someone that's going to be a part of a committee, but definitely not an RB1, at least to start his NFL career. I want to know what you guys think, all you Dylan Sampson fans, or guys that just love the NFL draft. What are your thoughts overall on Dylan Sampson, and where do you think it's a good, appropriate place for him to get drafted? I really foresee him being a day 3 pick, a 4th or a 5th round guy. Like I said, because it's the running back position is already going to be devalued. It's a very deep group, but he seems like he's kind of a one-trick pony. So it's someone that you can get really good value in the 4th, 5th, maybe 6th round. Super good value. He could be a great special teamer for you and somebody that can just add juice to an offense, in certain situations that are needed. So that's what I think. I'd love to know what y'all think below. Let me know in the comments if there's anybody specifically that you want to see, running backs, tight ends, receivers, whatever the positions might be. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to do it. I'm cooking up a video, some film right now on Harold Fannin Jr., somebody that I'm extremely excited about. And he was probably the most fun prospect I did yet until I started watching Kyle Monangai from Rutgers. So those are 2 of a few different film review films that I have coming out. So let me know what you guys think below in the comments. And until next time, guys, spend time with those that you love most, and peace out.